What is going on, everybody? Crypto Clay here, finally tapping in. It's been a while since I made a video, but I'm glad to be back. I'm glad to be making content, trying to do a little bit of deep diving instead of blabbing my trap. We got XDC represent. Yeah, she's doing good on the chart. Speaking of the charts, let's check this out. We got Bitcoin shattering the 200-week moving average, 28,135, just rocking it. I wonder if this bank volatility has anything to do with it, or is Bitcoin just on its regular path to the moon that it's been trying to do for years. Okay, let's go into our favorites here just to check it out. We got XRP at 46 cents. We got XLM trying to break 10 cents, and we got XDC, you know me, down with yes sir C OPP. Okay, that's enough of that. Look at XCC just raging there, coming back from the grave. Yes sir, I like to see it. So one thing I like to talk about and show is the CBDC development map. I'll leave a link down in the description below. But so these are all the countries working on CBDC development. Now, I'm not crazy about CBDCs. I do see them as being a form of control, a form of surveillance, and I'm not really for any of that, right? But I do see CBDCs being built on top of XLM, on top of XRP, and so I think that's stuff that we need to talk about and we need to look into and not ignore that CBDCs are potential in our future. Of course, we got the governor of Florida today proposing some kind of regulation against CBDC implementation, which I think that's cool. Honestly, I think that's good. But the issue I see with it is all these other countries are already in pilot, already launched, already in development stage. So I think it's good to speak up and try and fight against the potential control mechanism that will be CBDCs. Now, I have focused on a couple of these projects already, but I want to look over here at Australia and look at Project Dunbar, because look, we got Project Dunbar over here in South Africa as well. And once we go into the project map, you can see we got Australia, we got countries in Africa, we got countries in South America. Looks like North America is exploring it. We got Europe exploring it. I know Singapore is mentioned in this. We're going to get into that, and possibly other parts of the Asian continent, right? So if you go back to the map, it's saying technology in Project Dunbar is Ethereum. Now, I was like, okay, let's check that out. Let's see what they're doing here. Honestly, after diving into Project Dunbar, which we're going to go into this report here, I found that kind of misleading. Okay, so Project Dunbar brings together the Reserve Bank of Australia, the Bank of Negara from Malaysia, the Monetary Authority of Singapore, South African Reserve Bank, and the BIS, Bank of International Settlements Innovation Hub, to test the use of central bank digital currencies for international settlements. Learn about the expected benefits of multi-CBDCs and how it could make cross-border payments cheaper. There's that key word from the Ripple XRP community: cross-border payments cheaper, right? Faster and safer. See how we faced and solved critical challenges in designing a multi-CBDC shared settlement platform. Now, we're just going to get into the meat of it here. I'm going to leave the link down below. I want to know your opinion. I want to know what you feel about it, okay? So the design workstream was led by Accenture with the support from Temasek. I believe that's how you say that. So I believe Temasek is a Singapore based sovereign wealth fund, so billions of dollars coming out of that sovereign wealth fund. I mean, basically never ending money, and focused primarily on developing the high level functional requirements and design of a cross-border payment system. A series of workshops which were conducted across 3 sprints with the participating central and commercial banks utilize a structured design thinking approach to discuss and develop an innovative yet practical solution. So let's check it out here. Look at, we'll type in Accenture. So look, the design workstream was led by Accenture, Okay, that's interesting, right? So look, let's go over here. I just do a Google search, Accenture, Ripple partner. We've known in the XRP community that Accenture is like one of the first partners with Ripple, right? Ripple partners with Essential. Ripple partners with Accenture picked by Bank of England. Bank of England picked Ripple partner Accenture to create a payments system. Bank of England picked Ripple partner Accenture. So we know the deep ties with Accenture to Ripple, right? Okay. So the goal of the technical work stream was to develop technical prototypes on two different DLT platforms, Corda and Quorum, to transform the idea of a multi-CBDC, or mCBDC as they say later, platform into working prototypes. The Corda platform development was led by R3, while the Quorum platform development was led by Partior, with support from DBS Bank, JP Morgan, and Temasek. The two prototypes were developed based on the proposed requirements and design from the design work team, while leveraging the existing foundational features and architectures of their respective platforms. These capabilities and features were enhanced to support the specific needs of multi-CBDC platforms. So look at here. Partior, one of the people working on this project, right? Look down at the bottom here. Boom. Why do they got the chief officer of DBS Bank, right? DBS Group CEO Piyush Gupta to discuss the future of digital banking at Swell. So we got Piyush Gupta speaking at Ripple's Swell, right, in 2019. And so let's see what he says here. They're quoting him on the Partior main website here. By harnessing the benefits of blockchain and smart contract technology, Partior addresses current points of friction. The open platform enables banks around the world to provide real-time, cross-border, okay, keywords, multi-currency payment, trade finance, XCC, foreign exchange, and DVP security settlements on a world-class platform with programmability, immutability, traceability built into its suite of services, right? So we got DBS, we got Piyush Gupta. I know there's deeper connections to Piyush Gupta and Ripple, right? And then we got DBS Bank joins Ripple partner R3 Contour Finance Network, right? And we know R3 launches Corda Settler, selects Ripple XRP as its first supported cryptocurrency. Now, there was a lawsuit in the past, but I think they've kind of smoothed that over and they realized the technology, okay? And that's a whole nother topic. But we can see the connections of Ripple to these other banks and groups that are working on the Dunbar project, right? So basically the gist of it, you can read all the garbage in here that you want. I mean, it's useful, but I'm not going to bore you with it. I want you to go in there and give me your opinion. So they basically came up with three models within this trial. Okay, so they got model 1, enhances compatibility for CBDCs via similar regulatory frameworks, market practices, messaging formats, and data requirements. Model 2 involves interlinked CBDC systems. This could build on enhanced compatibility while offering additional safety via the PVP settlement, further common clearing mechanisms. So they're adding a bunch of crap in between what's going on here, between the settlements. Further common clearing mechanisms potentially operated by central banks, acting as super correspondents in cross-currency settings, could enhance efficiency, especially when they are linked with FX trading. Model 3. So this is the one that stands out to me, okay? It's almost like they're trying to show their work in here, that Model 1, Model 2 have infrastructure issues, but they don't really clarify, at least I couldn't, the superiority of Model 3 here. Model 3 involves a jointly operated multi-CBDC payment system hosting multiple CBDCs. All FX settlements would be PVP, so player to player or person to person, right, by default, rather than requiring routing or settlement instructions through a specific entity acting as an interface. Trading venues could also be integrated into mCBDC systems to reduce complexity, fragmentation, and concentration. I mean, just the language they're using there, though, I mean, it's reducing complexity, fragmentation, concentration, which clearly Model 1 and Model 2 have a vast network in between what's going on from one settlement to another, when we know distributed ledger technologies like XRP have a built-in decentralized exchange, so it automatically finds the best option for you, with its settlement in 3 to 5 seconds. And there's other distributed ledgers that are also, like XCC is already leveraging the Ethereum virtual machine to do a similar process, right? I am not a techie person, but I know that there are slight variances between XLM, XRP, XDC, right? But these are all distributed ledgers that I could see fitting in place of Model 3. Now, I'm not going to show you it in the Project Dunbar article, but they also do mention oracles, and we know Chainlink being a major oracle within the R3 core to settler, right? So let's continue on. Let's see the network components and services. So a typical network for both prototypes. So it's weird. Throughout here, they really only talk about the prototype 1, prototype 2. It's almost like they already know prototype 3 is feasible. So a typical network for both prototypes, I would assume they're talking about 1 and 2. It's interesting they don't say the 3 prototypes. But anyways, they said would consist primarily of nodes, which are hosted by participants. Both prototypes are built on permissioned networks. We don't like that. We don't really like that. We want permissionless, right? We want free flow of money and information. We don't want permission from nobody, okay? That's not a free economy. Anyways, with access controlled by the network operator. A Corda network is made up of nodes, each of which runs an instance of Corda in one or more core dApps. Communication between nodes is point-to-point and does not rely on global broadcasts. Each node has a certificate that maps its network identity to a real-world legal identity, and Corda network also includes other services such as a network map service, which maps each well-known node identity to an IP address. Boo. But I get what they're trying here. An identity manager service, which acts as a gatekeeper to the network. Meh. And a signing service, which acts as a bridge between the main network map and identity manager services, and the public key infrastructure, PKI, and hardware security model, HSM, infrastructure. Additionally, a notary service provides uniqueness consensus by attesting that for a given transaction, it is not already signed other transactions that consume any of the proposed transaction input states. And an oracle, there you go, services links the Corda network to the outside world. So quorum network used by Parator consists of only of quorum nodes, of which there are 2 types: participant nodes, validator nodes. A quorum node is a minimal fork of Go Ethereum. So they forked Ethereum for this experiment, right? And they're leveraging the Ethereum virtual machine. They're not talking about the Ethereum that you and I are buying on exchanges, okay? They're modifying what's going on around the Ethereum virtual machine. So new consensus mechanisms, network permissioning, and higher throughput, it consists of the core quorum platform. So when we go back to here, right? And they're saying they're using Ethereum. They're not really using Ethereum. They just want the meat. They just want the Ethereum virtual machine. They don't give a crap about the Ethereum that you and I are buying on an exchange. That's just my opinion, that the EVM is such a novel invention that they're willing to do experiments with it, right? So included in that is a stateless Java application, Tessara. Tessara consists of transaction manager, and then there's also a manager within that to control private key management called Enclave. So there's a lot going on within this Go fork, right? And I wanted to scroll down here on page 60, GETH or Go ETH modifications. This is what they did to it to make it viable, guys. The proof of work consensus algorithm has been replaced, and the P2P layer has been modified to allow only connections to and from permission nodes. The block generation validation logic has been modified to replace the global public state root check. The state partitionary has been split into 2, a public state tree and a private state tree or tree. Block validation logic has been modified to handle private transactions. Transaction creation has been modified to allow for transaction data to be replaced by encrypted hashes in order to preserve private data where required, preventing the EVM from executing private to public rights. The price of gas has been set to 0, but gas itself remains. So they modified it completely, yet they still have to keep gas. Crazy, right? So anyway, the trade-offs in these access models in these different projects that they experimented with. One recurring debate relates to the comparison of access models, with the direct CBDC access model viewed as difficult to implement due to the need for harmonization of changes in regulations and for multiple reliance on other central banks or regulators. And the hybrid CBDC access model was viewed as inefficient. Period. Let me read that again. The hybrid CBDC access model was viewed as inefficient. More thorough analysis, including potential refinements to the access models, should be conducted to validate this view. For example, while regulations are often different across jurisdictions, further study is required to understand the specific differences and their consequences and the actual regulatory changes that might be required to implement a direct access model. Also, there are likely to be differences in regulatory approaches across regions, and thus analysis could be done at a regional level or within logical grouping of central banks. The inefficiencies of needing intermediaries for control processes in the hybrid access models should be analyzed in the context that it may be possible for some of these processes to be performed in an automated and straight through manner, but ultimately they said it's inefficient, period. So that's what leads me. It's interesting that they focused on Model 1 and Model 2 in here when we know that the Model 3 already exists, right? So you can have one country with its own laws and regulations. If they legalize this ledger, you could have a totally different entity. You don't even need to know them. You don't even need to trust them, whether it's a state, whether it's a country, whether it's a financial institution, whether it's a financial regulator, or any other party can use a trustless system to execute a trade, right? And if you were to add smart contracts on top of that, which we know is possible, like through XDC, because the XDC also leverages the Ethereum virtual machine, right? Or they hinting at XRP or a multi-chain DLT with Oracle regulating in between. Anyways, I just wanted to point out a little bit of the meat within Project Dunbar and how them saying Ethereum here is misleading when they really only care about the EVM, right? Anyways, this is Crypto Clay, tapping out. Peace and love.